The Book of Judith, the sublime epitome of deuterocanonical literature, is a shining bastion of wisdom and ardor in the sacred scriptures. In this magnificent narrative fresco, set in an era shrouded in the mists of time, a plot of unprecedented power unfolds, woven of courage, faith, and cunning. The narrative, with its rich and compelling prose, transports the reader to an ancient world where the fate of entire nations hangs on the thin thread of the actions of a select few. The mighty Nebuchadnezzar, the ruler of the Assyrians, whose fame as a conqueror echoes throughout the known lands, unleashes his fearsome general Holofernes, eager to subjugate the lands of the West. Holofernes, a man of terrifying reputation, advances with an army so vast that it darkens the horizon, sowing terror and despair wherever he passes. His military exploits, narrated in great detail, paint the portrait of a seemingly invincible enemy. Faced with this threat, the Israelites, a proud but numerically inferior people, find themselves on the brink of the abyss. Led by the venerable Joachim, a high priest whose wisdom is second only to his devotion, they prepare for a desperate resistance. Cities prepare for the siege, fields are abandoned, and prayers rise to the heavens with unprecedented fervor. The air seems charged with a palpable electricity. At the same time, all the people hold their breath in anticipation of the inevitable clash. But then from the folds of history, the figure of Judith emerges like a beacon in the storm. This widow, whose legendary beauty would have made Helen of Troy pale, and whose cunning would have been worthy of Odysseus, stands out as the last hope of salvation. Her appearance on the scene is described with such vividness that it seems as if she leaps off the page, a living embodiment of grace and determination. Judith, moved by an unshakable faith and a boundless love for her people, weaves a plan as bold as it is dangerous. Her strategy, the fruit of sleepless nights and feverish prayers, is a masterpiece of ingenuity and courage. With the grace of a gazelle and the determination of a lioness, she meticulously prepares for her mission. Every detail of her plan is curated with obsessive attention, from the seductive dress she will wear, to the jewels that will adorn her body, to the honeyed words she will use to deceive the enemy. And she finally insinuates herself into the enemy camp, her heart pounding in her chest. Her face remains a mask of seductive calm. There, surrounded by thousands of enemy soldiers, Judith masterfully executes her plan. She wins Holofernes, trussed with the weapons of seduction, as sharp as any sword. Her every gesture and word is calibrated to bring her closer to her goal. The days pass, and the tension grows. Judith walks on a razor's edge, aware that a single false step could mean the end of her and her people. Finally, on a night charged with destiny, she seizes the long-awaited opportunity. In a moment of the general's alcoholic intoxication, when his guard is lowered and his senses are clouded, Judith acts with the speed of lightning. She cuts off Holofernes' head with a clean and resolute blow, instantly sealing the two nations' fate. This gesture, worthy of the greatest heroines of antiquity, unleashes a domino effect of epic proportions. The Assyrians, deprived of their leader and paralyzed by shock, give way to a hasty and inglorious escape. The scene of the panic-stricken enemy camp is painted in vivid brushstrokes, tents torn down, weapons abandoned, cries of terror piercing the night. Israel miraculously finds itself free from the yoke of the invader, passing in the blink of an eye from the brink of destruction to the glory of liberation. Judith, crowned with the halo of heroism, is greeted on her return with scenes of indescribable jubilation. The streets fill with rejoicing people. Songs of praise rise to the heavens, and her name is celebrated in every mouth. She spends the rest of her days surrounded by glory and veneration, becoming a beacon of hope and a paragon of virtue for future generations. But the echo of this narrative, far from dying out within the confines of its time, reverberates through the centuries, reaching our own day with undiminished power. With its moral complexity and symbolic richness, the story of Judith continues to capture the imagination and stimulate debate in myriad fields, inviting deep reflection and thought on its intricate moral fabric. In feminist theology, Judith emerges as a powerful symbol of female emancipation, challenging the norms of a patriarchal society. Her story is a fertile ground for discussions on gender, power, and female agency in a religious context, inspiring scholars and activists alike. Judith's story has inspired artists across the ages, giving rise to a diverse body of work that spans various artistic mediums. From the captivating paintings of Renaissance masters to the majestic symphonies of classical composers, Judith's figure has been immortalized in countless masterpieces, testifying to the enduring power of her narrative in Western art. In the swirling contemporary debate about ethics and war, Judith's story raises burning questions, prompting deep reflections on the nature of justice and morality in times of conflict. Was her action heroic or reckless? Was it justifiable or condemnable? These questions continue to echo in university lecture halls, philosophical symposia, and public debates, providing a prism to examine questions of the ethics of war, resistance to oppression, and the moral limits of acting in defense of one's community. The Book of Judith also lends itself to political and sociological readings. Analysts and commentators find parallels with contemporary geopolitical situations, exploring themes of national resistance, asymmetrical conflict strategies, and the role of the individual in shaping historical events. Judith is sometimes invoked in discourses on national security and the justification of extreme actions in the name of collective survival. In psychology, Judith's complex character provides rich material for analyzing the human psyche under extreme stress, heroic motivation, and coping mechanisms in crisis situations. Her emotional and psychological journey from despair to decisive action is studied as an emblematic case of human resilience and determination. Ultimately, the Book of Judith proves to be a multifaceted prism capable of refracting the light of ancient wisdom into 1,000 streams of modern thought. Its narrative, rich in symbolism and layers of meaning, continues to offer new perspectives with each rereading, from theology to philosophy, art to politics, psychology to sociology. This text continues to nourish, provoke, and inspire, maintaining its ability to speak to the human soul across the millennia. With its blend of unshakable faith, indomitable courage, and brilliant cunning, Judith's story remains a beacon of inspiration and a catalyst for reflection. In a constantly evolving world, where the lines between right and wrong often blur, her story reminds us of the complexity of the human condition and the transformative power of a single act of courage. Far from being a mere historical relic, the Book of Judith thus confirms itself as a living and breathing text, capable of dialoguing with present and future generations, inviting us to reflect on the great questions of human existence: faith, freedom, sacrifice, and the power of the individual to change the course of history. Thank you so much for making it this far. Your interest and support means a lot to us. If you want to help the channel, consider purchasing the Ethiopian Bible by clicking the link in the description. This will significantly help us continue to produce and share content like this. Thanks again, and see you soon.